Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Melt Off podcast. I am Urza Master,
And I'm Goonie Mama.
and we're excited to be back for a second episode, breaking ground on this podcast here. Had a great response to last week's episode, just us introducing ourselves, really, and really appreciate all the listenership and all the subscriptions and likes. If you do enjoy the Melt Off podcast, highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop us a comment with any tips, tricks, or any thoughts you might have. This week we talked about, kind of what the first step is, for us, and when we talk weight loss journeys, what the first big hurdle is, really. And we both agreed water. I mean, it sounds really, really kind of simple, but the concept of taking in 64 ounces minimum of water per day doesn't sound like a huge number, but it is actually rather challenging. Fortunately, there are enormous water bottles online that you can get that are 64 ounces when you fill them to the top.
Oh, I didn't know we were taking drinks.
Oh, drink. And it does make it a little easier. Unfortunately, of course, that's having to dump more money in the project. But essentially, 64 ounces of water, you figure, is that 8 to 10 glasses historically that you've been told. Most glasses are roughly 8 ounces to 12 ounces. So that's kind of where I think everybody's journey should begin. I don't know about you, Goonie Mama, but with Noom, my biggest hurdle was hydration. I could easily hit the calorie target. I could, eat the salads for lunch or whatever. And with this gastric bypass plan, that was kind of the first thing they had me tackle was like, okay, you need to be hydrated because hydration is going to be a huge issue when your stomach's the size of an egg. So what did you think when you first started out, switching to water? I know we were big drinkers just in terms of general liquids, but what was your journey?
I think my biggest thing with water is remembering to drink it. A lot of the times I would just forget, if it was a glass of water, like an actual glass, I forget to fill it up, or I put it somewhere and I forget where it is. With Noom, there's like a water tracker you can add on your page that helped me remember. And then also just being motivated about the water bottle that I have. I have a water bottle problem, and Urza Master knows this very well.
Far too many water bottles. We've given some away, and we still have too many.
Several away. Just being passionate about your water bottle. It sounds silly, but if it's a bottle that you enjoy drinking from, you're going to find yourself drinking a lot more. I find it easier to drink a lot more water if my water bottle has a straw, whereas Urza Master likes his, like, we have the same water bottle, but I have mine with the straw insert, and he uses his as more of like a jug. So sipping with a straw just helps me, I don't know, drink more water, I guess. It intrigues me to drink more water. I can just sit there at my computer, still reading something while drinking at the same time, so it doesn't distract me to drink. Whereas if I have to tilt back a cup or something, I can, I have to find time to do that.
Yeah, and for those of us in the gastric bypass plan, it's not feasible to drink from a straw. You take on too much air, can expand your pouch, causing either damage or extreme discomfort, or at worst dumping. And if you guys don't know what dumping syndrome is, essentially that's where, it's like eating something nasty and your body rejects it and you vomit, except your stomach doesn't hold anything for long enough most of the time. So if you're lucky enough to vomit something, you still have dry heaving that follows and heart palpitations, and you get weak, and it's this horrible, horrible thing you really want to avoid. And it doesn't just go with like gulping too much air or drinking too much liquid at once. It also goes with eating something that's too fatty or too sugary, or that you haven't chewed up enough. So there's a lot of things that can complicate it. But the number one problem that happens after the surgery is dehydration. So starting now, learning how to drink water without a straw, because I used to like the straw quite a bit. I mean, I remember a year or two ago, I had the big Solo Tower kind of one jug with the straw, and I would crank down 3 of those a day. I was taking on Actually, at one point, a urologist told me I was drinking too much water when we were trying to have our second child, which I thought was mind blowing. And she's like, I've maybe told 3 patients this ever. She's like, but lay off the water a little bit. So you can go to extremes. You know, I think some people don't realize that there's such a thing as too much water. Not just all at once, because we know all about the guys who chug like a gallon of water and have seizures or, you know, brain issues, but also the fact that you can have too much throughout the day, and it can have some negative consequences. On the flip side of that, I think most people are familiar with dehydration, with feeling thirsty, with, you know, the issues you get when you don't drink just plain water. And I think it's really important to point out that we're talking plain water here. We're not talking flavored water,
Right.
Water mixers, carbonated water, salt water, or anything like that. It's really important to know your body needs regular ass water. You know, I think we both know plenty of people who think they're getting water, but they're definitely not.
Right. And I mean, if you don't like the flavor of water or to drink plain water, you know, some of those additives aren't horrible. It's better than not drinking water at all, or only drinking soda, or only drinking coffee. But, you know, slowly trying to get yourself to drink that plain water, or possibly just adding like natural, like lemons or cucumbers or, you know, berries. I know a lot of people will do like those infused waters, the water bottles that will infuse with fruit, if that is an option for you. But I actually enjoy drinking plain water. Sometimes even room temperature water is what I prefer versus ice cold water, unless it's the dead of summer, then I want that ice cold water. But
Right. And I mean, it is better for your body to drink room temp water. I know I've heard that in a bunch of different places. I also prefer cold water. I like everything cold, so, but you know, I'll drink it no matter what. I also have found enjoyment in plain water, but there's other things you can drink too. I mean, there are some flavor additives out there that you can get that don't have any sugar or artificial colors or
Right.
flavorings or anything that are reasonable for you. There's also, of course, the classics, decaffeinated tea, or even regular tea, you know, with regular caffeine. The caffeine in tea is very low. For those on gastric bypass plans, you know, caffeine's kind of a big no-no because it dehydrates you. That's why I can't drink coffee anymore, which is a lot easier transition than I thought it would be.
yeah,
But I
you've been
really
doing
miss it.
really, really good.
Yeah,
Now that I can drink coffee, you're like, I'm not going to drink coffee.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with alcohol too, because you know, alcohol is one of the things that got me to the weight I'm at. You know, I wouldn't go so far as to say I was an alcoholic or abusive of alcohol, but other than maybe in a binge moment or two. But you know, certainly in my later years here, I haven't been as big a
Parenthood.
drinker. Parenthood puts a damper on that big time if you're responsible. But you know, for me, it was more of the, you know, this is about long-term health, and you know, you can drink after gastric bypass. It's not encouraged because beer is carbonated, or even non-carbonated alcohols like a hard liquor or like a whiskey or bourbon or something. You know, not only are you at an increased risk for addictive behavior, like alcoholism, but you don't know how much that alcohol is going to affect you, because not only do you absorb it like that, but you know, it goes right through you. So like, you don't know how much you've drank. You don't know how much one drink is going to affect you. Like 5 drinks may have affected you before, you know, a 1-to-2 ratio or greater. So the risk of just getting drunk and not knowing it, you know, not being able to control it, and then on top of that, you're dehydrated again. So really, it's not. Again, none of this is about you can't. It's about what you should or should not do. But it makes it all very real on gastric. You know, for Noom, it's more of a calorie thing. Like alcohol, beer,
Right,
wine,
yeah.
all just empty, worthless calories.
I would
really.
rather have a cupcake than a glass of beer at this point.
Right.
You know, I can do like the low calorie White Claws. They're like 70 calories if I really wanted to fit it into my budget. But like I said, I'd probably rather have a cookie or
Well, and there again, you're
something
also,
sweet.
you know, you're also going to be retaining water. There's going to be
Yeah.
bloat from the carbonation.
My next weigh-in would probably be discouraging for me. So I try not to.
Yeah, so it's tough. So I think that, yeah, like we said, the first step is really finding something you like to drink out of. Then figuring out how you like to drink water. Do you like it with ice? Do you like it just plain, room temp? You can even drink hot water. I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's no different than tea or coffee. Be a little
Flavorless
weird.
tea and flavorless
yeah,
coffee.
just hot water.
No
Who
thanks.
knows? But there's healthy options out there that keep you hydrated. And then one thing I found is as I started drinking more water, I was less hungry almost all the time. I could go a lot longer in between meals. The protein I take in, especially now that I'm doing a lot of liquid protein, and eventually here in a couple of weeks will be all liquids for a while until surgery. When I do liquid protein in the in breakfast, I get my protein shake and water, and that's it. And I honestly don't feel hungry. You would think with just sloshy liquid in your stomach, kind of like drinking a couple of beers, you're also hungry. You're craving that sort of substance, but you're really not with water. It kind of fills you up in a way that is unexpected. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I definitely feel that way, like during the day, my snack times. If I want to try to prolong that and kind of put off my snack craving, I'll, just drink a bunch of my water. And then that kind of subsides the snacking craving. I wouldn't obviously ever replace a meal by any means, but when I do feel like I need something and I have the hankering for something, I will drink water to just kind of subside the craving.
It really helps.
Yeah.
And, sometimes all it takes, if you still feel snacky, is a little salt. So, like, you eat a saltine cracker or a couple
Pickles.
of pickles.
Pickles are great.
Pickles
are great.
Oh, man, we could talk some pickles.
Let's do an episode on pickles.
We should. Just pickles and grapes. They're
those
tremendous.
bread and butter pickles.
Oh, bread and butter pickles, there's too much sugar in them. But,
but they're so good.
Regular kosher dills and a handful of, green grapes.
Yeah.
The nice thing about grapes and pickles is they're hydrating. So you're not only hydrating your body, but you're filling that sort of snack craving. And you can drink water on top of it, because I get thirsty eating pickles. And now you're taking in more water. You're taking in, very few calories. You're getting dietary fiber. You're getting some vitamins, some minerals, some salts.
Pickles are just a great snack, and so are grapes.
Oh, they're wonderful. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, pickled cucumbers that you're eating either. Pickled anything is relatively healthy.
Let's not go there.
Pickled beets are great. Pickled pig's feet. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care.
Pickled eggs.
Pickled eggs are wonderful.
Oh, pickled gizzards are my favorite.
Had them. I can't say I enjoyed them. I've had them. But really, the neat thing about water is when you start replacing the drinks you used to have with meals. Now, for gastric bypass people, because we have to be different on everything, you're not supposed to drink 30 minutes before a meal, during a meal, or 30 minutes after a meal. I'm really struggling with that right now because I don't usually drink a lot during my meal, but occasionally I like to have just a sip of something. And then I like to have water before and water immediately after. So I've got at one point was setting timers to try and avoid it, and I've gotten away from that. I need to do that again so I can get used to it, because you don't want to dump. But the biggest thing is,
can there be a different word for that? I'm sorry
no,
if people are eating while they're
literally
watching
called
this podcast.
dumping syndrome.
I'm sorry if you're eating.
So it's a thing. Google it. But it's challenging, because I know when I was just eating whatever I want, drinking whatever I want, certain foods paired really well with certain drinks. I think about Coca-Cola and Chinese food was a big one for me. I loved an ice cold Coca-Cola with a giant heaping plate of Chinese buffet.
Mountain Dew and pizza.
Mountain Dew and pizza. Mountain Dew on a hot day, when it's really, really hot, it's just so refreshing. Mountain Dew tastes like shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does.
It's not
But there's
good
just,
hardly ever. But
certain times.
there's those certain times it's oh yeah. I mean, right now I could go for Mountain Dew. I know I would feel absolutely horrible afterwards, but it'd be worth it.
Fountain cherry Coke with movie theater popcorn.
Yep.
Done.
Beer and popcorn. Beer and meat. or
Beer and cheese. We live in Wisconsin.
yeah, beer and cheese. Hey, I hate to say it, but beer and cheese. I'd rather have beer, cheese, and crackers than wine, cheese, and olives. First of all, olives are disgusting.
Agreed. Oh no,
But,
green olives are delicious.
I hate
but-
olives. All olives. Blah. The good thing is, I'll never have a martini again. I didn't like martinis to begin with. I was a Cosmo girl, let me tell you.
Okay.
But even certain liquors, like I loved, like a gin and tonic and a sandwich. Like a big, like drippy, like French dip or something. But like,
When did this become the alcohol?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about drinks
Do you
and
miss it?
food.
A little bit.
I miss it a little bit, and I think that's natural. That's the other thing is like as you give this stuff up or as you reduce it, if you're not on gastric bypass and you're just doing Noom or just controlling your diet better, you have to acknowledge the fact you are going to miss things, and it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. It's natural, but it gets a hell of a lot easier with time. I know the first week I stopped drinking coffee and started drinking just water. It was rough. Like, not only was I really tired in the morning, but I just didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I was myself.
And then I went and bought you coffee for your birthday.
And then you got me coffee, my favorite coffee for my birthday, which was very sweet. But,
It's still in the closet.
It'll probably be a year or so before I can drink that. I may have to regift that, and then just buy another case when I'm physically able again. But it's just interesting. I mean, I never thought, what I would miss the most about switching away from other drinks is just not having those pairings, I guess.
Yeah. Water goes with everything, though. So
And that's
you got
true
that
too.
going for you.
That's true too. I've never again, I'm not supposed to eat and drink at the same time, but like if I need to clear the airway, I never have an issue with it being water. The only time I guess I do is when it's like something really sweet, like candy or chocolate or something.
You need a glass of milk or what?
Well, I could have milk. It's not like I can't have. Actually, I should have milk. It's part of getting my protein in every day. I got to remember that too. There's just so much to remember. But it's those things that like the sweets. Where you want, a cup of coffee. I love a slice of pie and a cup of coffee. A slice of pie and a glass of water is miserable. And that's what we had a pumpkin pie, my favorite pie, or one of them. And it was, what did we have it for? Like 2 weeks?
Yeah, because I didn't eat it.
And because I couldn't do a cup of coffee with a slice of pie, what did I have? Like 2 pieces, and we threw the rest away.
Yeah, it got bad.
Yeah, I mean, it basically got bad. We had to toss it. The same thing. We had an apple pie. It was wonderful, but without a cup of coffee to go with it, or a hot toddy or whatever. I mean, anything that you would traditionally serve with a slice of pie. It's like I can't do it, and that was a little disappointing. But at the same time, I kind of felt good about myself. Like I could sit and eat an entire pie if I had a pot of coffee.
Right.
So with that, there's always the workout portion of it, where as you drink more water, I'm a sweaty guy to begin with, but I find myself just drenched, after putting in a mile or two on the elliptical and 20 minutes of weightlifting. Have you noticed that you sweat more now that you're drinking more water?
Yeah, if I really go at it on the elliptical, I get very sweaty. This is me post-workout. I did 2 miles on the elliptical, but very casual. I was about 18 minutes for the 2 miles. So I didn't sweat too bad. I wasn't really going for it. But yeah, you definitely do, just because your body's retaining more water the way you're drinking it. So
yeah. And, the nice thing is, as you drink enough water every single day, if you're consistent with it, you don't really retain the water because you're hydrated. And you can sweat and replenish without, necessarily running into those walls. You do still have to make sure you're getting your salts. Although our diet, or the American diet maybe, is fairly salty. It seems like everything, unless you're making it fresh with the vegetables and the eggs and stuff, it has a ton of salt in it.
right, preservatives too. And
Anything
that.
processed or out of a box, which when you have 3 kids like we do, it's tough, right?
Yeah, there's no way around it. Like, we're still gonna have the processed foods in the house. Like,
But as you mix
yeah,
in vegetables and things and fruits, you're getting
you limited
hydration
it
from those
too.
sources too,
Yeah,
and you're mitigating. You know, you got to mix the good with the bad, and you can't. Like I said, you can't really be too restrictive about it. You still got to eat the things you enjoy, or find new things you enjoy to eat,
right.
and pair with water. And vegetables seem to be the ticket there. I know we've had several vegetable-heavy dishes lately that.
Well, I just realized I really love sweet potatoes
Mhm.
and Brussels sprouts. I think
And
we had it like what 3 times last week
I
and
think
this
three
week.
times in the past week, yeah, which is great because I like both of those things too.
I never knew I liked sweet potatoes so much.
Yeah, and then you get that fuller feeling because vegetables fill you up more so than
Right.
oils, or fats, and you get that fuller feeling. And with the water, it lasts longer because that dietary fiber and the hydration kind of mixes together and pushes through your gut. You get more poop, but
Okay, people might be eating.
nobody's eating. If you're eating, what are you eating? Can I smell it?
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Luckily, I will say I've kind of been a little off my game with my diet lately, but I've been very good about the water. And it's helped me from going too far off the rails. Today I ate a whole pizza for lunch. I will say it was a bad lunch day.
I did not have the pizza. Just want to say that
did
to
good.
my
You did good.
followers.
But at the same time, like, all I had was a protein shake and a banana for breakfast, lots of water, and then
What'd you
I,
have for dinner, Cody? Or some master?
I had water, and I also had a banana split because it was Daddy-Daughter Day, and I took my daughter out to ice cream.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say something about these Dairy Queen banana splits. Hot Eats Cool Treats. When I was a kid, a banana split was like 3 small scoops of ice cream, a split banana, and then you got a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of strawberry, and I think a little bit of whipped cream in between the 2 scoops of ice cream. This monster of a banana split I got today. Now the price is significantly more. I think it was 99 cents when I was a kid. It's like $5.50 now. But I will say that not only do you get like a jumbo banana, but you get like 3 mountains of ice cream, 6 dollops of whipped cream, chocolate sauce like
What's this
poured all over.
podcast called again?
I know, right? So it's hard to melt things off when you think you're going to get this, dinky little banana split, which is mostly banana. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm being responsible here.
Sure.
I'll get a banana with some fruit.
Yeah, right.
And instead I get like this 400 calorie or 500 calorie banana split that I'm like, well, I paid for this. I have to eat it. And I didn't eat anything else. So it's like, I exceeded my sugar and fat for the day. But, all in all, not a terrible day. I hit my protein. I got my water in.
Not every day is going to be
Not every day is a
vegetables
success.
and fruit and all that.
And it's
jazz.
it's not a failure. It's just a
No.
bump in the road. You acknowledge it, and you do better next time. And that's, I think, for Noom, gastric bypass, Weight Watchers, whatever you're doing, eventually you run into a day where, you end up just slipping or hitting a plateau, and you have to figure out how to push through it. Some days you do it, and you're proud of yourself at the end of the day, and some days you're like, you know what, I learned something today. We're all Kyle Broflovsky sometimes. But, on the flip
I don't
side,
always get his references.
I think the majority of people will get the Kyle Broflovsky reference, but but anyway, so the nice thing is, like, you got to hang your hat on what you did succeed on, even if you struggled in other categories. And I think water is kind of the easy one. Like, once you get over the hump of learning to get used to all this extra water and not drinking other things,
Visiting the bathroom more.
peeing
just get
more
used
is
to it.
real. I mean, that's a big shock. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember before I was even
Try being
cognizant
pregnant.
of water. Yeah, no kidding, right? I mean, I went from peeing like twice a day, 3 times a day to like 6, 8 times a day.
Yeah.
And then when you were pregnant with Soren, like, I mean, what was it? Every hour,
Felt like that.
all
Yeah.
hours of the day and night. Like,
Yeah.
you
I'd
know?
be up like 3 times at least every day in
Well,
the night.
and the last two, both the boys seem to like love to kick you in the bladder,
Yeah.
or punch you in the bladder, or roll on top of your
They
bladder.
love me.
They do. They really do. And it's interesting because the boys see us drink water a lot. Well, actually, all the kids do.
Yeah.
Linnea doesn't really pay attention. But Linnea has even started drinking more water. And
She
Rowan,
likes that she can get it herself too.
she loves
from
that
the
she can get it
fridge.
from the fridge. And Rowan's been drinking more water too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's been kind of unique to see. He
He's
loves it
learning
from
the
Baba.
sippy.
Yeah. Sippy's a
Slowly.
struggle. But hey, Sippy for me was a struggle. Trying to sip instead of suck it out of a straw. So that's, it's not exactly the most earth-shattering topic in the world, but I think it kind of gets overlooked. When you're starting Weight Watchers or starting a new diet, whatever you're doing, to better your health, when you're coupling it with activity and diet, and they're very much all intertwined. The water is kind of the, I don't know, the medium
Foundation?
in which, the foundation in which everything is sort of built, or
Yeah.
the medium which it all is intertwined. I like to think of it as like, if I'm eating healthy food, to avoid being hungry for bad food, the water fills the gap. If I need to work out and I don't have enough water, I feel like crap when I work out. I mean, my muscles like get tense and seize up, and my
Yeah.
legs don't want to run anymore. After a while, I have cramps. But if I'm drinking enough and getting enough electrolytes and salts, I mean, I feel great. Really.
Yeah. I also notice if I don't drink enough water, that the next day I can see it in the scale as well. Because my body's trying to retain more of it because I'm not giving it enough. So, I tend to either plateau or I even gain a little bit. Because this morning, I don't know, did you weigh in this morning? I did.
I did, yeah.
Okay. So I weighed myself this morning and I weighed 258.6, which is still going down. And like I said last week, I did start at 266. So I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm going and just continuing to see that number go down. Last week I kind of hovered around 260 back and forth, so I was getting a little bit discouraged. And then managed to kind of break through that plateau. And you can too if you've hit a plateau. Just know that you can get through it. Just change up something, Increase your water intake, lower your salt intake, and you should see a difference.
Yeah, and bumping up your protein. That's something people kind of forget about, is
I definitely forget about that.
adding protein in. It seems counterintuitive, but if you add a little protein, it makes it a little easier. Last week when I was at the doctor, I was at 324. When I weighed myself on the Fit Index, I was at, the lowest number I saw was 313. I think this morning was 319. So I think
And our scale's a little bit different than like a doctor's scale too.
Yeah, so trust your doctor's scale, because depending on how you stand on a home scale, or if you went to the bathroom yet, or if you,
Right, always go to the bathroom first.
yeah, always go to the bathroom first. Weigh yourself naked, because who cares? You're at home.
And right away when you wake up.
If you do it at the doctor's office, it might look at you funny, but right away when you wake up, you literally weigh less than you do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
That's why it's important to weigh yourself at the same time
every day.
every day.
Same, and if you want to wear something, if you're a pajama person, just wear light, clothes. But understand that,
Or wear the same pajamas every day.
right. Understand that, like, your clothing has weight.
Yeah.
I wear denim jeans all the time. I usually wear 2 shirts, and they're big shirts. There's a lot of fabric to them. I have a belt on. I have a wallet in my pocket, a cell phone in my pocket. I don't always remember to take that stuff out when I'm at the doctor getting weighed, so...
Right, or they always weigh you with your shoes on.
And shoes on. They have had me take my shoes off the last couple of times.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was weird at first. But, it made a huge difference, because there was a couple weeks ago where I stepped on, shoes on, and then the next day I had to go back for a different procedure, and they had me take my shoes off, and it was like a 3-pound difference. I mean, it was
Right.
significant. So,
Yeah.
their scale's probably a little more accurate, but you can usually figure there's anywhere from like 2 to 5 pounds, depending on what you're wearing. That may be you may be a little high. And then if you are not getting enough water, which yesterday I definitely did not drink enough. The day before that I definitely did not drink enough. I got most of my 64, but not all of it. Usually I go a little more than 64, so my body's not used to that, so it's retaining. So a little fluctuation. 6 pounds is a lot. Chances are there's some salt issues in there. And tomorrow I'll have them too because I ate a pizza today.
Right.
But, if I eat nice tomorrow, it'll be better the day after. And that's...
Exactly.
And water has a lot to do with that because you're flushing that stuff out and you're literally moving it along because you do retain poop. I hate to keep bringing up poop, but...
I hope nobody's eating.
So get your fiber in, get your water in, get your proteins in, and I think you'll see that those plateaus tend to shatter. But really it starts with water.
Yeah. Do you have any victories this week you want to share?
Yeah. I've been doing really well, I think, at focusing on building in those liquid diet days. Like this morning was pretty much liquid. I did eat a banana, and then basically the rest of the day was liquid outside of a pizza and a banana split.
Right.
Now, granted, lunch was a total shit show.
It's okay. We just won't do it again, right?
Right, exactly. You just don't eat that whole pizza. Well, we don't have any more pizza now.
Exactly.
So
You're just eating the food that we can't have for later.
Yeah.
We're clearing it out, you guys.
Exactly. Got to get it out of the house.
Might as well do it with poop.
And some people purge it. Like, they just toss this shit. But
Hey.
honestly, I'm not going to do that. I'm too cheap. So I will punish my body a little bit in the way of getting healthy, but also being frugal. But I have done really well historically the last couple of weeks, trying to prep myself mentally for that liquid diet. That's been a big win for me.
Yeah, and then my big win this week was I've set another goal for myself this year to do 4 5Ks. So I've only ever done one 5K in my life, which was 9 years ago when we were first dating. I did the color run, which was really fun. And I just kind of wanted to get back to having a new activity, something to look forward to throughout the year. So I signed up for my first 5K, which is a virtual one, so I can do it kind of whenever it's convenient, when I can. I'm doing it with a friend. Shout out to Debbie if you're listening. Thank you for the motivation to do these 5Ks. So we're going to try to do one every season. So we're going to start with our virtual one, probably spring, when summer, fall, and then November, December-ish time for the winter one. So it's just something I'm looking forward to for the year, and even seeing my time improve. So that's why I'm trying to increase my mileage on the elliptical to kind of get to that 5K mark. It's too icy to be outside, so the elliptical is kind of all I've got right now. So yeah, really looking forward to those, and you get cool medals, which is really exciting. So I'm just looking forward to it.
That's fun. I've done a few 5Ks. I'm actually surprised I've done a lot of 5Ks compared to you.
Yeah, I've only never done one.
I mean, I did the Jingle Bell run and the arthritis walk run. I mean, I think I probably walked more than
I guess I did the March of Dimes once, but I don't consider that a 5K.
Yeah, I've done a few of them over the years. Nothing consistent where it's I'm not any kind of runner or even a walker really, but I always had fun. The fun part is always doing it with friends.
Yeah.
And then we used to go out to the bar right after.
Of course.
Yeah.
And maybe we will too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, and you reward yourself a little bit, save up those calories.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, Spotted Cow, shout out to a local Wisconsin company here, New Glarus, is yellow on Noom, or it was anyway.
I hope so.
And relatively, I think it's 110 calories per bottle.
Don't get my hopes up.
If I remember right, I remember drinking it on Noom and being like, okay, I saved up enough to have 7 tonight. And inevitably 7 led to 12 and 12 led to bed.
Yeah.
But, that's really fun. That's a great win. I think if we're going to talk struggles, which we should next, binge eating, emotional eating has been my issue this week. Not that I've gone like ham on a whole cake or anything, but
Or a whole pizza.
I did eat a whole pizza today. It was a little stressful at work. It's stressful having the kids home.
Yeah.
Which it's good stress, like it's motivating stress, but at the same time, I storm eat when I'm kind of like stressed and emotional. I tend to just, I'm trying to feed one kid, trying to get the other kid to eat. There just happens to be, pizza, so it's convenient. They like pizza, cookies on the table, so it's like I eat a big pizza and then have a cookie. Granted, I bought those cookies, but I did not sit down and eat a whole sleeve of them. Or anything. Like I have had a couple here or there, but nothing crazy. But aside from that, really, honestly, the last few days have not had like a significant overeating event. And actually, the last few months that hasn't happened. This is the first time in a long time I've sat down and ate a whole pizza. So it's a good reminder to just get back to my water, because that's always the first building block. Like if you get off on a little tangent on your diet or how you should be eating, focus on your water.
Yes.
Focus on your protein. Focus on your fiber. And what you'll find is you're so focused on other parts of your diet that you should be getting, you kind of forget to eat the crap. Not that pizza's crap. You can have pizza. You just can't have a whole pizza.
Right.
If I'd have had 2 slices of pizza, I would have been fine. And instead, I had a whole DiGiorno. It's not delivery. That was my challenge, I think, for the last couple of weeks, is just being mindful.
Yeah. I would say my struggle this week was actually my water. I struggled this week to refill my water bottle first and foremost in the morning. I find if I don't do that, then all of a sudden it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't had any water. That happened to be 2 days this week, and just a rush of disappointment comes over me, and then I'm just like, I failed today. I completely failed. But then I, really get back my, train of thought, my mindset, and realize, no, I didn't fail. I'm just really, really thirsty. So I fill up my water bottle and I drink. And, yesterday and today I was on top of my water. I mean, I do have a little bit left, but as you can see, where is it? Oh, right there. The 9 o'clock. So I'm, not too far off. I've been talking for a little bit here and not drinking it, but, just taking my failure and turning it into success at the end of, the week. Just kind of turning it around and feeling better about it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's really the mentality you have to have, is when you have a struggle, it's just a learning process. There's no such thing really as failure. You're not failing yourself, because you're still hydrating yourself. You're still feeding yourself. You're loving yourself. You're learning about yourself, and you'll get better, And the thing about sticking to it, making it a lifestyle change versus a diet, is, you realize these things as you go. And there's no map that you can follow. Everybody's an individual. Again, we're not doctors. We're not professionals. We're not dietitians or nutritionists or even gym rats. We're just 2 everyday people with the same struggles as a lot of people.
We're just a fat couple trying to lose the weight.
Right. We're trying to melt it off, is what we're trying to do. And I think, the point is just doing your best, and just doing your best, forgetting the rest, and trying to learn about yourself, get in tune with your body, be mindful as you eat and drink, and being really intentional with, those processes as you're going through your day. When you wake up, making sure you start with your water, making sure it's filled, making sure you have a healthy breakfast and a healthy lunch planned. And I think that's where we've both struggled a little bit lately, is like planning out those meals and, okay, what are we eating?
We should do an episode on meal prep.
Meal prep and planning. Honestly, meal prep is, I think there's a misnomer there, because you don't necessarily have to have one day where you cook a bunch.
No.
And then you just eat that. You just have to plan. It should be meal planning.
Meal planning.
Rather than
episode
prepping.
Coming.
But our next episode, we talked about it, and I think, what was it going to be? Food. triggers. Yeah,
Yes.
food triggers. We're going to talk about the foods that really trigger us into this mood, that mood, or trip us up, trigger us into a challenge with our weight loss journey. And that's a hairy topic, I think, for everybody. We have those foods we have emotional ties to, or foods that are just so good we can't put them down. Foods we shouldn't eat that we find ourselves eating all the time. So
Right.
that'll be a good one. We certainly hope if you enjoyed this show or our first show or both, that you join us for the next episode. We are looking to do some interviews with some folks in the future. We want to get a few things in the can here and get a few things established, but we are soldiering on. You can definitely check us out again. We are available on YouTube at Digital Escape Podcast. We are the Melt Off Podcast, hosted under the Digital Escape Podcast umbrella. I am Urza Master. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. You can also follow me on YouTube. I have my own separate channel. If you're interested in retro electronics, retro computing, retro computers, I am reasonably entertaining and would love to have you there. Goonie Mama, you can follow her on Instagram and hopefully soon to be Facebook, so she can show off her awesome new avatar, which was drawn up and created by the wonderful, talented, and truly magnificent, truly magnificent. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. Missed a few words in there, but that's fine. Amazing. Great. Joe Clander.
Joe Clander. Thank you very much. He also designed my avatar, which you can see on my pages. Really thrilled for that. He's working on a showcase image for us, so we can get that up. You can check us out as well on digitalescapepod.com. That is the website for all Digital Escape productions. All of our blogs, all of our episodes, shorts, reels, they all get posted there, along with some other goodies. And one thing I would say is that if you have a business, a podcast, a food truck, or really anything you want to put out there on the internet and you want to get good marketing and a good business strategy, I highly recommend you go to the absolute pinnacle of web design and business consulting, and that is Peak Media, peakmds.co. Michelle over there is truly a delight to work with. She's a wonderful, wonderful person to engage with on a business level, who shoot you straight, but also give you a great vision and put your dream to paper. And I guess not paper anymore, it's digital now on the web. So check them out, peakmds.co. And again, if you want to see an example of the work, you can see it at digitalescapepod.com. And a quick shout out to those of you in the gaming community. When you're done with your workouts, done with your water, and you want to sit around and game with friends, a great friend of Digital Escape Productions and our show is Sanctuary Woodworking, sanctuarywoodworking.com. They make specialty gaming tables that you can get a 32 to a 40-inch TV basically mounted into a table with interactive maps for games like Dungeons & Dragons. And during the day, say you want to put it up by your elliptical and watch some TV. What are you watching in the elliptical these days, Goonie Mama?
I'm actually watching Ginny and Georgia on Netflix, and it's great. I recommend it.
So if you want to watch Ginny and Georgia by day, you can hang your Sanctuary Woodworking gaming table on the wall at your elliptical, and then by night, when you turn into a level 5 wizard or level 5 mage, you can go ahead and set up your D&D campaign and have your buddies or your friends or family over and enjoy a beautiful, functional, fantastic gaming table courtesy of Sanctuary Woodworking. Again, sanctuarywoodworking.com. With that, that's all we've got for you today. Again, appreciate everybody coming by. Goonie Mama, you want to take us out today?
Yeah, just, drink your water and have a great day. Don't put me on the spot like that.
We had really planned
I'm not
this.
as cute as you.
We had really planned this catchphrase, and I tell you what, it's in my notes, and this is the blooper without a blooper reel to all of our listeners.
Take it away.
Well, we had planned this, but so future episodes, this will be cleaner, I promise.
I'll try to remember it.
What we want to convey to all of our listeners out there is, come along with us as we melt off the excess. See you next time.
Bye.